The following books, stories, plays, poems, or limericks you will hear on Right Time Radio are the intellectual property of the writers and authors mentioned. Any copying, recording, or reproduction of this work is strictly prohibited without the express written consent of the author. The content of this show is the individual expression of the author and does not necessarily reflect the views of the owner of this radio station.
It's the right time for Right Time Radio. I'm Tom Bruno.
And I'm Lynn Donovan. Welcome back to Right Time Radio. Last week you heard part one of a short story, Pixie Bugs, by our own Tom Bruno. And it's narrated by Bethany LaLoge, Talia Smith, and Bob Ware. In part one, we met Peely, a pixie smaller than a firefly. Peely has the ability to remember the future as well as the past, just by thinking about it. Her age-long friend, Schwinghai, has this ability too, but mostly he uses it to pull pranks on the unsuspected. Peely discovers Jeremiah, a lonely hay farmer and a wonder man who releases hundreds of incredible lightning bugs into his field by the Arkansas River. Peely hangs out with Jeremiah even though he has no idea she is with him because she is so small. While exploring the nearby town of Florence, he sees a woman named Sarah who busses tables at Papa's restaurant. Their eyes meet and Jeremiah and Sarah connect in a strange and powerful way. Wanting to get to know her better, he writes a note on a napkin and asks her to meet him for coffee the next morning. She agrees, but then she stands him up. Jeremiah listens to a talk show on KRLN and is intrigued by the smooth voice of a positive-thinking Serena. He calls the show and he asks the host out for ice cream. She agrees in front of 16,000 listeners. When Jeremiah enters the ice cream parlor, he is surprised to find Sarah sitting there, and they both realize that the mystery caller and Serena are Jeremiah and Sarah. Doubt and mistrust dominates their meeting, and they part frustrated, determined to never see each other again. But Peely knows they are meant to be together. We pick up our story with part two of Pixie Bugs, written by Tom Bruno. Peely is determined to make Jeremiah realize Sarah, or Serena, is the one for him.
And what about the baby?
Now, Bob, we'll get to that in a little bit.
What? All right. And now for the continuation of Pixie Bugs.
Peely ran agitatedly across the ladder of the Jeremiah's eyelashes as he drove back to his farm.
What were you doing, you foolish human? You tried to mess up that date. You said words to make her mad. You snapped at words that made you mad. Are you mad?
He didn't hear a word of it, but running so close to his forehead she could feel the heat coming off of him.
It's your fault. You have been the nice Jeremiah. She would have been the nice Sarah. You would have fallen in love and raised children and been happy and lived meaningful lives. You would have mattered to each other. Are you trying to make your lives depressing?
The Jeremiah returned to his porch and flopped into his rocking chair. At the far end of the hayfield, tracks ran along the river, east to Canyon City, west to the Royal Gorge. The sun hung above the horizon. The Jeremiah sat brooding as it crept toward evening. Peely felt him trying not to think. Her mood not only shadowed his, but she was frustrated by not being able to communicate. How could he know, as she did, that if he just persisted, he and Sarah would be happy together? But if he did nothing, nothing would happen. Time passed. The Jeremiah barely shifted in his chair. The sun went down, the fireflies came up. Almost unconsciously, Peely flew up to get close to one. She watched its abdomen glow and fade, making trails of after images like a lonely signal light. Who are they signaling? Too bad they don't signal the Jeremiah. Wait! Peely could make them talk to the Jeremiah. She flew above a glowing bug, dove down, and mingled with it. Its simple mind was no match for her. She directed it to fly to the Jeremiah's porch. As she flew, she tested her control. Fly left! The firefly veered left. Fly right! It swerved right. And now to test the most important part. Glow! She felt a slight warming in her posterior. She looked at the lower part of her massive body. She was alight. She blinked herself on and off rapidly in excitement. Extinguishing the glow, Peely settled her firefly on the wooden rail. Now what to say and how to say it. The Jeremiah still brooded on his rocker, staring vaguely out across the sea of hay. He wasn't paying attention. Well, that's easy to fix. I'll just shine a light in his eyes. Peely launched her firefly, circling around the back of the Jeremiah's head, hit the glower, and buzzed across his face 2 inches from his eyeballs. Jeremiah jerked upright, swatting at her. Peely simultaneously doused the glow and spun down and away. His hand barely missed her. The wind of its passing ruffled the firefly's wings. You ogre! Trying to kill an innocent firefly and me! But Peely knew the Jeremiah's nostalgic feelings toward the insects. He hadn't meant to squash her. She had foolishly startled him. She calmed herself, navigating through the shadows to come out several feet in front of the man. He was alert now, unsettled by the firefly. Okay, I can spell. She took up position at eye level, turning on the glow, and swooped, tracing a C in the darkening air, dousing the light at the end. The Jeremiah was watching her curiously, but he was confused. She flew madly, tracing out all the letters. C-A-L-L. What did he think? That the firefly population had gotten into the coffee and was wigging out on caffeine? Peely tried again. Slowly. She flew a smooth, glowing arc, retracing the letters. C-A-L-L-S-A-R-A. She landed on the porch rail, feeling somehow incomplete. She flashed a short dot while sitting on the rail. Period. She had spelled call Sarah. That was fun, but looking at him, looking at her sitting on the rail, he didn't have a clue. She sighed. What's the matter? Haven't you ever seen fireflies spell out urgent messages to make your life happy? The Jeremiah got up, walked up to the rail, and looked down at her. Peely spread the firefly's wings, ready to zip away if he had tried to swat her.
Bug, what are you doing? He shook his head. I grew up with millions of fireflies all around me, and I've never seen one act like you. You crazy pixie bug. And I've never talked to a bug before either.
Peely flew her bug across the field where she unmingled and released it. A train horn sounded from the canyon upriver, echoing its ever-lonely call.
This is Right Time Radio, and we are going to be back right after a few commercials.
Relationships make the difference between knowing someone or just knowing about someone. This week on the Lutheran Hour, our guest speaker, pastor and author Paul Schultz, introduces us to a unique and unifying way to understand the Christian faith and message, getting to know Jesus through the language of relationships. This week on the Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour is brought to you each week by St. John's Lutheran Church. Listen Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. on 1400 KRLN.
Who can fix a laptop, making it spam-free, removing malicious files and an infection or 3? The Randy Man can. The Randy Man can 'cause he fixes it with care and makes it run like new. Who can fix a desktop, checking all the parts, running all the tests so it doesn't fall apart? The Randy Man is Absolute Computer Repair, located at 621 Main, or call 315-6333. Remember, the Randy Man can 'cause he fixes it with care and makes it run like new.
Pleasure
Flashback on Main Street has moved to July 6th, featuring Hell's Bells, an AC/DC tribute band, classic cars and classic rock, and a block party for the entire county. Fremont Community Foundation needs your help. Call Drew Ferretti at 720-231-9692. Sponsorships are $500 to $2,000, and you can have your name in the lights too. Come to downtown Canyon City, July 6th for Flashback on Main. Fremont Community Foundation, always giving back to Fremont County.
KRLN weather, mostly sunny and warm today. Clouds increasing this afternoon with a few scattered thunder showers, the high around 88. Mostly cloudy this evening, then partly cloudy overnight, the under 52. Partly cloudy and cooler tomorrow, 90% chance of thunderstorms, high tomorrow around 78. 55 was our low this morning after a high of 90 yesterday. 81 degrees currently at the weather station.
Radio 1400 KRLN.
We are back with Right Time Radio, and we are continuing with our little short story called Pixie Bugs, written by Tom Bruno and narrated by Bob Weir, Bethany LaLoge, and Talia Smith. And we'd also like to thank Fremont Regional Hospice for sponsoring our show. We appreciate you letting us be on the air. And now back to our show, Pixie Bugs.
Peely rode atop the firefly Schwing Hai had mingled with. Yes, she loved riding on its back, but no, this wasn't right. Schwing Hai should not be forcing the firefly out in the daylight. They were nocturnal creatures. He had no respect for the gift that Jeremiah had brought them. But there was something else. Something about Schwing Hai's reckless flight. The wind in her hair, the morning sun warming her back. She should have been thrilled, joyful. Instead, dread filled her. Ahead, she saw the Jeremiah standing on the trail, looking back toward home. Schwing Hai buzzed him, zipped by his face much as she had done the night before. But Schwing Hai just kept flying the firefly up the tracks into the rugged canyon. Peely hung on desperately as Schwing Hai sent the bug into a barrel roll. "Calm down, Schwing," she yelled as they leveled out. "What are you doing?" Peely heard a train's horn around the bend, and thankfully Schwing Hai slowed the bug. He hovered over a ravine. And as Peely looked around, she caught sight of a body below. She gasped in horror. Schwing Hai dove into the ravine. Dust was still settling. Oh no! It wasn't just one body, but two. A man with a backpack and a woman. The woman was mostly buried under fallen rock. The man had his leg twisted at an angle legs shouldn't bend. And as they got closer, Peely saw blood under his head. They were dead. But she still felt terror, a building cry of pain, and it wasn't coming from the two fallen. Schwing Hai buzzed toward the backpack. Landing on the shoulder of the dead man, they looked into the backpack. Peely covered her mouth in surprise. A baby girl, perhaps 6 months old, trying to cry. The baby's breathing and making her cry a tiny, squeaking whimper. The baby had one tiny scratch along her forehead, but otherwise looked uninjured. This baby would die if she didn't get help. Peely looked around. Both the tracks and the Jeremiah were blocked by the steep sides of the narrow ravine. No one would see her. Just as Peely realized this, the firefly beneath her took off. Schwing Hai forced the firefly up and out of the ravine in a steep ascent. Peely thought Schwing Hai was going to fly back to the Jeremiah, but Schwing went the other way, down the tracks. "Where are you going?" Peely yelled. She looked up to see the train charging around the bend. What was Schwing Hai doing? Mingled with the firefly, he couldn't talk to her. Was he going to try to stop the train? She couldn't fathom, but he seemed so determined. The train barreled toward them, the engineer's face growing large enough to see through the windscreen. He couldn't see the firefly, of course. Maybe Schwing Hai was going to fly in the window? But Schwing flew straight at the huge locomotive's windscreen. It was inevitable. Peely reacted without thought, leaping off of the firefly and flying desperately out of the path of the oncoming train. Schwing Hai, her friend, her annoying playmate, her deep, spontaneous, impulsive comrade of ages, flew right at the engineer's face, right into the windscreen. No! Peely's entire body contracted violently in an emotional agony. Time dilated as the firefly broke into glowing bits and spread across the windscreen. Schwing had not unmingled. He had intentionally stayed in the mind of the bug, and whatever made that dead firefly glow still burning brightly across the windscreen. And then, out of the horror of her friend's death, something strange and wonderful came together. A picture glowed brilliantly on the glass, a perfect depiction of the scene in the ravine. The buried woman, the dead man, the struggling baby, exactly where the bodies lay. And the train engineer saw it too, Schwinghai's final act of will. The screech of scraping metal pierced the air and Peely looked up. The train slowed with a terrible lurching shriek. She saw the passengers grabbing for handholds, looking out of the windows in frightened alarm. Flying forward to the cab of the locomotive, she saw the driver pulling on brake levers, determined to stop. He climbed out of the cab, his face set with concerned conviction. Without doubt, he had seen what Schwinghai had conveyed in his dying moment. The driver headed straight for the ravine, where the baby needed help. Ahead of the train, Peely saw the Jeremiah climb onto the tracks. He ran toward the motionless locomotive. He must have known something was wrong. As the engineer picked his way through the steep rock, the Jeremiah came up behind him.
What is it? What's wrong?
The driver turned his head.
There's a couple down here, dead. Their baby's still alive, but trapped.
The Jeremiah immediately pursued the man, not questioning. The two descended into the ravine, resolute in their rescue. Peely flew to the top of the ravine, her mind overloaded with horrific images and events. The Jeremiah spied the fallen man. A small gasp escaped his lips. When they reached the bottom, they pulled the man away from the rock and freed the baby, who gasped in a huge breath and wailed loudly as the engineer pulled her out of the backpack. He passed her to Jeremiah, and she quieted into an exhausted whimper. The baby looked from Peely to Jeremiah. Amazingly, the baby smiled slightly, and Peely could feel Jeremiah's heart go out to her. The Jeremiah wore a Whitewater Adventure Outfitters ball cap. Peely perched atop the bill. Her own somber mood dominated Jeremiah's nothing box contemplation of the sunrise. He sat on the hood of his truck on Skyline Drive overlooking Canyon City. The Jeremiah was certainly enjoying it. Peely was thinking about Schwinghai and a parentless baby and the Jeremiah and the Sarah never falling in love. Sarah's radio show played loud from the cab.
This is Serena. It's another day. What's on your mind?
Serena! You can't leave us listeners hanging like this.
The caller was an excited young lady.
How did your date with the mystery caller go?
Sarah had long pauses for a radio show.
Well, awkward.
Was he a creeper? Was he good looking?
Well, he was good looking. Brown eyes, round face, sandy hair. Kind of a big guy.
And?
The date was only a couple days ago. I'm still processing. But safe to say, I probably won't see him a third time.
A third time? You had 2 dates with him?
No, I had run into him a couple days before that, but we didn't know each other then.
Sounds like fate. A meaningful twist in the caller's voice.
Sounds more like small town Canyon City. Okay, let's get off my lackluster love life and on to the next caller.
She clicked off the nosy girl and clicked on the next caller.
This is Serena. Thank God it's another day. I want to know what's on your mind, as long as it's not me.
The caller chuckled.
Nope. I was wondering if you heard any more about that baby girl they rescued at the mouth of the canyon.
Peely could feel Sarah choke up despite the distance to the radio station and despite Peely's own funk.
Carolyn did a story on her. Her name's Jayla. She's half Hispanic, half Caucasian, and has no relatives who are able to take her in. Child Protective Services has found her a temporary family.
Well, pretty amazing those guys found her. I was a conductor on that train a few years ago, and it's not impossible to see into all those canyons. Even harder to climb into them. And to just stop the train like that, it's a God thing.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right.
Who found her?
The engineer's name is Cal Wotek.
Oh, I know Cal. Man, I wonder how he knew that girl was down there. Who was the other fella?
Sarah hesitated a mere moment.
A guy named Jeremiah.
You sound pretty broken up about it, Serena. Guess a tragedy like this hits everyone pretty hard.
Yes.
Well, good those guys for saving that baby's life. Thanks for talking to me, Serena. Love your show. Love that you're so real and encourage us to take chances.
There was a silence before Sarah spoke again.
Yes, good on those men. Guess that story does hit me in the heart.
Peely thought she could hear Sarah swallowing back tears.
All right, next caller. This is Serena. What's on your mind?
You should go out with that guy again, Serena. I mean, running into him twice in a week, as long as he's handsome and, not a freak, that's somebody telling you something.
No!
Sarah hung up on her.
Let's talk about something else. Anything else. In fact, let's break for a commercial.
Peely heard Jeremiah sigh under the ball cap. Schwing Hai had given meaning to his life by dying for that baby. What could Peely do?
All right.
Again. Sorry.
We'll come right back to Right Time Radio after another word from our sponsor.
Hey, this is Drew Frady from the Fremont Community Foundation.
And this is Kitty Romano from Fremont County Communities That Care.
Come join us on June 21st and June 22nd at Centennial Park for the 2019 Royal Gorge Whitewater Festival. Bring your favorite camp chair and come on down and enjoy everything the Royal Gorge Whitewater Festival has to offer.
Mark your calendar now for June 21st and 22nd.
Have we forgotten anything?
Yes! How about great food vendors, 8 different musical acts on 2 stages, and ice-cold beer?
See you there?
Yes!
Jim's Tire and Alignment stocks tires for all of your recreational and outdoor equipment. Jim's Tire huge inventory means no waiting on tires for trailers, campers, fifth wheels, and ATVs. Whether you need tires for tractors, riding mowers, or any small equipment, Jim's has it all. Jim's Tire and Alignment. Quality, price, and service. Taking care of you and your vehicle for 40 years. Jim's Tire and Alignment Service, 1005 South 9th Street in Canyon City.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the Father's Day sale at Ace. Hurry in and save hundreds on Dad's favorite brands like Milwaukee, DeWalt, Craftsman, Traeger, and Yeti. Plus, Ace has an extensive lineup of steel outdoor power tools, so you can be sure to find something you'll love. And save time when you buy online and pick up in store. Make this Father's Day one that Dad will always remember, with great gifts from the best brands. All at your local Ace. Offers valid on select items at participating stores through June 17th. See store for details.
Hi, my name's Christina Stumble, and I own Farm Girl Flowers in San Francisco. With my Spark Cash Card from Capital One, I earn unlimited 2% cash back on all my business purchases. Last year, I redeemed $115,000 in cash back. Yeah, $115,000. And that doubled our digital marketing budget for the summer. Thanks to my Spark Card, we had our best summer yet. Imagine what the Spark Card from Capital One could do for your business. What's in your wallet?
Real Capital One customers pay for real stories. Credit approval required.
Right Time Radio would like to thank Fremont Regional Hospice for sponsoring this show. And now, back to Pixie Bugs.
Once again, Jeremiah sat on his back porch. The fireflies danced their slow dance. The hot, stagnant day sizzled to an end. Late June. Sun was down. His dad's old metal fan running on the porch. At least it moved the air. Nearly a month had passed since he and the train engineer had found the baby. Nearly a month since he and Sarah had gone on one disastrous date. It had been a very long, lonely month. Jeremy wanted to adopt the baby, but he knew, of course, raising a child by himself, not something he could imagine. For several weeks, a firefly came to the porch and flashed wildly above the rail, looping and jinking. Jeremiah liked to think the bug was trying to thank him for bringing them to Colorado. But it could just as easily been yelling at him to take them home. About a week ago, the berserk skywriting stopped. Even the bug had given up on him. Admittedly, he had about given up on himself. His parents were gone. The young couple dying had sent him spiraling into his own ravine of despair. Is life that random? That couple was alive and in love, enjoying Colorado, and suddenly it's over. He hadn't even known that much love as those young parents did. They had each other, and they had their baby, Jayla. They had meaning. Me? I have fireflies. Is it a trick perspective, or are the fireflies gathering right off the porch? And there's one on the porch rail again. It has to be the same one. Shaking his head, he tried to appreciate the flashing insets above the hayfield. But his reverie didn't last. Less than a minute later, he got buzzed by another firefly. Crazy bugs? Again, he had to wonder if it was the same one that was buzzing him every time. A firefly with a death wish. Glancing down, he noticed the porch rail was empty. The one that had buzzed him glowed brightly, as if getting his attention. Following the creature with his eyes, it hovered a foot above his face, seeming to tell him something. He felt it reaching out to him. He felt confused. He felt it was saying goodbye. The firefly turned decisively, zipping towards the fan, its light still burning fiercely. It paused, hovered above the fan, and dove straight into the spinning blades. Jeremiah jumped up from his rocking chair. No! The bug splattered. Its glowing abdomen shattered into a million pieces, suspended in the air and time. His mind was suspended too. The glowing fragments formed a picture in the air. A yellow, 3D picture he knew was true. A picture he must make come true. He saw himself walking in the yellow hay. A woman walked in the field. Sarah. She was on the edge of joy-filled tears. She saw him, and they ran to each other. As they met, they slowed and reached out. Yellow sunshine filled them with unguarded tenderness, like a tall, cool glass of lemonade. They touched lightly and drank in each other's eyes, floating in golden pools. Their hearts filled their chests, filled their throats, their eyes, their minds. Their emotions poured freely into each other. They drew in close and kissed gently. Opening his eyes from the kiss, Jeremiah sat next to her on his porch, swinging gently. One of her hands rested in his. The other cradled the rescued baby girl against her chest. The comfort of their nearness was the completion of their longing. Sarah laid her head on his shoulder and sighed, fireflies filling the air before them. The fireflies were more than insects. They were feeling, loving beings, all flying close to the porch rail. The creatures spoke to the couple in a warm rush of affection, and the air buzzed with the summer night's enchantment. The moment stretched, and a deeper realization filled the glowing picture, a knowing thick with sadness, satiated with conscious sacrifice. Peely, a tiny bloom of fierce consciousness, embraced the Jeremiah with her presence, her final presence. She was a tiny creature of enormous compassion. A millennium of life poured out from her presence and filled his memories with a million simple, innocent joys. Hide and seek, riding a firefly, the scare game. And he knew how much she paid for this final gift, and he knew the only way he could repay her was to accept it, to act on it.
Love well, my Wonder Man.
A flood of joy and sadness burst from him like an emotional dam break. He fell to his knees, weeping the tears of both weddings and funerals. Something beautiful had just died. and something beautiful must yet be born. Sitting on the edge of his bed, Jeremy listened to Serena's sweet contralto voice. He listened to her every morning, even though it made him melancholy. Today, it made him nervous. His cell phone screen faded again. He reactivated it and this time pressed call.
This is Serena. It's another day. What's on your mind?
Hello, Miss Serena. This is Jeremiah. Silence. He took a deep breath and plunged in. He kept his voice steady, not demanding, not pleading. He knew how this would turn out. You and I got started under confusing circumstances, but now you know who I am, and I know who you are. Would you consider a second date? There was a short silence, but Serena found her voice.
You know we're on the air, right?
I don't have any other phone number for you. I'll tell you what I have in mind. There's a prime rib house on Macon called the Canyon City Queen Anne. We could get to know each other without any more surprises. What do you say?
Is this your persistence again?
She was intentionally reminding him that the synonym for persistence was stalker. This is the idea. We got started badly, but better times are ahead. She responded with the slow and deliberate words.
I've thought a lot about the odd way we met. I can't ignore it. I'm willing to give this a second chance.
Great. Could you put the whole world on hold so I can give you the details?
You know the phones here are ringing off the hook.
The woman's laughter filled his soul like a cool drink. Sarah and Jeremiah sat on the new porch swing he had put together that afternoon. It was a warm August evening. A month since Peely's death, the fireflies danced for them, and he felt their glow in the closeness between he and Sarah. This was what Peely had showed him. Almost. Her picture was timeless. Now, 2 months from now, 30 years from now.
I've never seen lightning bugs before. They're beautiful, enchanting.
And these creatures, I believe they care about us in a very special way. Sarah looked askance at him, puzzled, but beyond doubting their strange romance. Sarah, Jeremiah looked into her gold-ringed eyes, what do you think about adoption?
I think it's great. I've actually had dreams of adopting a little girl.
Jeremiah nodded, unsurprised. You know that little girl the engineer and I found?
Yes.
Well, she still needs adopting. Sarah looked up at him.
You know this is only our 7th date. Aren't you moving a bit fast?
I'm not talking about tonight. I just wanted to make sure you were open to the idea. It'll work out. Her eyes stirred, bemused but not disagreeing, and she stretched up to kiss him. As their lips met, then parted, a firefly startled them both, zipping between the two lovers.
What?
Jeremiah and Sarah followed the bug with their eyes to the space beyond the porch rail, and an astounding sight.
Are they supposed to do that?
Sarah wondered in awe. Over the hay, hundreds of fireflies hovered in a tribute to a pixie named Peely, to the love that she had died for. They formed a softly glowing heart, pulsing in sync with the hearts of Sarah and Jeremiah.
This has been Right Time Radio, and we will be back right after these commercials to talk to our narrators.
Are you at a dead-end job or need a new career? Check out the WIOA program. This program can assist eligible individuals to obtain training in various in-demand industries. What's an in-demand industry? Healthcare, construction, commercial truck driving, law enforcement, hospitality, technology, and more. Some trainings are just 4 weeks, and then you're into a career you love. Come see us at the Canyon City Workforce Center or visit uawioa.com, uawioa.com, and apply for the WIOA program today.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the Father's Day sale at Ace. Hurry in and save hundreds on Dad's favorite brands like Milwaukee, DeWalt, Craftsman, Traeger, and Yeti. Plus, Ace has an extensive lineup of steel outdoor power tools, so you can be sure to find something you'll love. And save time when you buy online and pick up in store. Make this Father's Day one that Dad will always remember, with great gifts from the best brands. All at your local Ace. Offers valid on select items at participating stores through June 17th. See store for details.
Hi, my name's Christina Stumble, and I own Farm Girl Flowers in San Francisco. With my Spark Cash Card from Capital One, I earn unlimited 2% cash back on all my business purchases. Last year, I redeemed $115,000 in cash back. Yeah, $115,000. And that doubled our digital marketing budget for the summer. Thanks to my Spark Card, we had our best summer yet. Imagine what the Spark Card from Capital One could do for your business. What's in your wallet?
Real Capital One customers pay for real stories. Credit approval required.
Flashback on Main Street has moved to July 6th, featuring Hell's Bells, an AC/DC tribute band, classic cars and classic rock, and a block party for the entire county. Fremont Community Foundation needs your help. Call Drew Ferretti at 720-231-9692. Sponsorships are $500 to $2,000, and you could have your name in the lights too. Come to downtown Canyon City, July 6th for Flashback on Main. Fremont Community Foundation, always giving back to Fremont County.
KRLN weather, sunny and warm today. Clouds increasing with a stray shower possible this afternoon. A high around 88. Cloudy this evening, then partly cloudy overnight, though under 52. Partly cloudy and cooler tomorrow. 90% chance of storms. Tomorrow's high around 78. 90 was our high yesterday with a low of 55 this morning. Now from the weather station, 82 degrees.
Talk Radio 1400.
Okay, we are back with Right Time Radio, and we would like to talk about this short story. It's Pixie Bugs. Where did you come up with this idea, Tom Bruno?
You know, I used to remember. That was yesterday.
Has it been a while since you wrote
He slept.
It had. It was. Let's see. It was in December. It was, and actually, the reason I wrote it was for our writers group, Lynn.
Yes.
And I've always loved fireflies. I did grow up in Illinois, where Jeremiah stole his fireflies from, and brought them out here to Canyon City. And I just thought it'd be cool if there was like a consciousness behind them. Mm-hmm. And then we put that into the story about this little romance between Sarah and Jeremiah.
Well, it's a really cute show, and you made every one of us cry earlier when we were rehearsing. So.
Yeah, but you guys did good by tickling each other while at the sad parts.
Yeah, only the listeners could see what happens behind the microphone.
Yeah.
It just happened one day.
And the listeners can do that if they volunteer to be a narrator. So we'll audition you, and unless we know you, if you're out there listening and we know you, you better call us up and.
Yeah. How can
the audition's not that hard
to do that?
Oh, that's a good way to plug this. So let's get, if you want to contact us either to be a narrator or if you want to submit a story. And by the way, we're having a couple poetry sessions coming up here. If you have anything like that, a short story or a poetry, a poem, a poetry, yeah.
A poetry.
Yeah.
Or drama.
Yeah, or drama. We have the drama queens in front of us.
What about the baby?
The baby, yes.
Hey, well, anyway, what I'm trying to say is contact us at righttimeradio@gmail.com.
Correct, Tom.
Just give us, that's the easy one. If you want to go to the website and hear any of the past performances, that's on Right Time Radio, that's WRITE, righttimeradio.my-free.website.
Right.
And I went there, and it works just great. And you got all the other...
And you can also see a spotlight of what's coming up next week. You can see a whole schedule of what's happening like through August, I think.
Speaking of that, we've got some exciting stuff coming up. We got another one by Lynn here. But that's in a few weeks. That's July 12th.
Next month, actually,
Yeah, what's next week? Do you remember?
We've got a returning author, the one that did our military tribute.
Oh, right.
So she's come back with a nice
Sandra
little...
Miller
Linhart. Sandra Miller Linhart.
Yeah.
And she's got just like a little short story. It's really cute. So we're going to enjoy seeing her again.
Good.
And so let's talk to our narrators. Let's have each of you introduce who you are and kind of what you played in the show, and then we'll talk about some more stuff. So let's start with Bob.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Weir. I got to play Jeremy. Jeremiah. Sorry, Jeremy. There was no Jeremy. Jeremy was the father. No. So I got to be Jeremiah. So I would like to thank Right Time Radio for inviting me to participate. It's the first time I've ever done this, and it was
we love
fun.
Your deep voice.
Yes, we do.
That rumbling voice. It just echoes through the canyons.
Us girls are melting over that voice.
It was quite fun. So we had a really good time doing it. So
good.
It's a great story. So I just figured it was, Tom wrote it based on something he had seen. So
I think sometimes his ideas come from dreams, so maybe he did see this.
Yeah, maybe, but no.
Maybe, but no. Okay. All right, next we have...
I'm Bethany Lalage. I work with Starpoint, and I'm the new CBCAP prevention coordinator, and it's a new grant that we got that's a state-initiated it's just a state-initiated project for the next 5 years to work with agencies to become more family-friendly for their employees.
Nice.
So I'm doing that, and I love this. Like I said last time, this had been a bucket list item for me. This is my second time being on the show, and I just love it, and I love performing with all these great people. They're awesome. And since this show's about shameless self-promotion, I wanted to plug our STEAM Festival that we're having this weekend. I know I'm probably jumping the gun.
It's all right.
Yeah, I'm wearing a T-shirt about it, so I have to show. The viewers can't see this, but we're having an early childhood science, technology, engineering, art, and math festival at our Fremont County Family Center. That's at 1339 Elm Street here in town, and that's going to be tomorrow from 10 to 2. We'd love to see. We're going to have Saturday, yeah. We're going to have about 25 different vendors and activities. The 4-H food truck will be there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's free to the community.
Very cool.
Wow,
yeah.
That sounds great.
One of the things we want you to share is what role did you play in this
Oh, yeah,
story?
I forgot. I was so excited. I'm Sarah, or Serena.
With that voice, that wonderful
with the radio
voice.
show on KRLN.
This is another day with Serena. What's on your mind? Yeah,
totally do it.
I'm going to sub for Carrie one of these days. Yeah. Tom?
They thought about doing a morning radio show with the girls.
Yeah, sure.
You think you could roll with that?
I can roll with anything. Oh, yeah.
She's very. She did a play one time where she was 5 different characters because it was a woman with a split personality.
Actually, I did.
I know her.
I did. Right?
Pause that, Bob.
It was 3, but yeah, I had. I did
my
play.
story was better.
It was called Edge of Therapy, and it was about a group therapy session that was being taken over from. Their psychologist had died, and their daughter was taking over the group, and I had split personalities, and one of them was a nymphomaniac. And it was,
oh my God.
It was quite interesting. It was a great play. That is on YouTube, if anyone wants to look it up, Edge of Therapy.
Edge of Therapy. Write that down, Tom. All right, that's fun. Thank you, Bethany. And last but not least, by any means, we have Talia.
Hello.
Hi, Talia.
Hi.
What did you play?
Tell us who you are and what you played.
I'm Talia Smith, and I work at Papa's Pizza, and
she's a very good waitress, so if you ever go there, you'll know that you've been well served.
Tip well.
And I played Peely, the little pixie in this. I also played a female caller.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, it was a good time. Thank you so much.
It was fun. Talia is special to me because she was in my play, Haunted Java. She stole the show, Hold on. They're all offended because Bethany was in it too. The leading lady was not here today, but she's been on our show before. And then Bethany played Molly, who was like a secondary person. And this way off down the line.
I believe that's supporting actor.
I
believe that's what you call
way
it.
off down the line was this character that was actually a ghost, who was played by Talia, and she stole the show. Everyone loved her. She got standing ovation at the end, and you did an awesome job, and you looked really cool. And I had no idea her hair was so straight because she always had it curly like the 1920s. Awesome job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I love having her on the show. So, what else are we going to do, Tom?
What?
We don't have much
I was just going to say thank you to everybody again.
Yeah.
Talia, for giving up your shift today so you could, so you could come and do this for free.
We'll put a word in with your boss so that you'll
give you a written excuse.
We will.
All right. So please, if you're out there and you're feeling creative, I mean, we have lots of fun here. If you can't tell that, we're not just making this up.
Well,
we do as we go. But we do have a lot of fun. So if you want to be a narrator, a voice actor, or please, we were looking for more stories. We have about the next 2 months programmed out. And Carrie is forcing us, she's got blackmail material on all of us, to go through the rest of the year. Yeah. They're not pictures, they're recordings, because she's radio.
That's right.
Yeah, we need some submissions, so please submit anything you have, and we'll let you know if it's appropriate for the show. We do need it to be family friendly. And if you're worried about the length, give us, contact us on the email, and we can work with you on that.
Yep. Sometimes we can do 2 shows if it's too long, and combine it with something else if it's too short.
Right.
All right.
So you're going for pizza at Papa's now.
Oh, yeah. That's true. We're going to bring the crew over
so if
there.
you want to meet the crew, head to Papa's.
Lunch.
A good point.
Oh, that's right.
What was
they open in 5 minutes or 7.
That's true.
It took us a little longer than that to get there, but yeah, since it's the last show, we've invited everybody over to Papa's.
Yeah. All right. So see you there for some Southwest sausage cheese dripping pizza. Garlic and accents of spice.
And we will see you next week on Right Time Radio at 10 o'clock.
Thanks for listening. This has been Right Time Radio on 1400 KRLN.
Thanks, Carrie.
AM 1400 KRLN.